Hi everybody, good morning, it's Attorney Goff. Good afternoon I suppose at this point, but I'm coming to you from our West Hartford office and we are going to talk workers' compensation. I've been getting workers' comp has been super busy in my office and I've been getting so many questions, comments in my videos and people asking, can you do some more? Can you talk about it? Can you get into more detail, which I'm always happy to do. My biggest thing is when I became an attorney, I always wanted to be a teacher and a lawyer. So I basically was able somehow to marry these two concepts together, and that's why I can bring you these videos. I want my clients to be educated and hire me because they choose to hire me, not because they need to hire me, right? All right, so I love Halloween too. So we're in October, well, almost in October, and Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. I had a lot of fun with it, a lot of fond memories when I was a kid. But it's totally true for those that are in workers' compensation. Halloween has nothing on workers' comp, right? So there's ghost stories, tales from the crypt, the whole thing about people's experiences in workers' comp when they chose to either handle it on their own or hire the wrong lawyer. I hear just as many stories about hiring the wrong lawyer, I think, as I hear about people doing it on their own. And you gotta be careful, guys. You need to do research, right? So I put up billboards. I have Halloween billboards going up actually, which are super fun. Let me know when you guys see them. But I think it's just so important that you research, right? So there's organizations like Super Lawyers. The Super Lawyers is a nomination-based program only, and you can find a lot of lawyers that are very well competent on Super Lawyers. I have 3 lawyers in my office that has met Super Lawyers. That's 50% of our lawyers, which I think is a huge accomplishment for us. You use Google, use Avo, use Better Business Bureau, whatever the case might be. We are on Better Business Bureau, and we're there because I think we are certified under the Better Business Bureau, and I think it's important because people deserve to be held accountable when they make promises and they don't keep them. Now, guys, nobody can be perfect, right? So every client wants a different level of care, and where one client would be jumping up and down saying, oh my goodness, the level of satisfaction with the firm is out of control, that same treatment to another client may not be enough. So as a firm, it's so important that you pay attention to all of your clients, you evaluate all of your clients' needs, and then you do everything in your power to make sure that the people assigned to their files and the attorneys involved in their files are delivering them the best amount of service that can be delivered. And that's why we do so well, because that's how we do it. It's not client A, client B, client C, client D. It's Jane Smith. Here's who Jane Smith is. We know her. This is her instant. This is what happened to her. This is her, what her preferences are. And then it's about turning Jane Smith's file into something other than a file. She's a person in our office, and we refer to her by name in our office. And we treat her like a person, which most people, when they sign up with comp attorneys, they don't get that level of satisfaction. They're a number, they're a letter, they're what have you. All right. So again, Halloween, right, is my favorite holiday. So if I can make a play on it with ghost stories of comp, trust me, there's many of them. Most people you meet actually have ghost stories about workers' comp, or they have horror stories, and they scare people away. You shouldn't be scared of workers' comp. What people don't realize they're scared of is their lack of knowledge. So let me give you an example. If you break your foot, I actually almost did last night, I swear. I exercise outside my house. It's COVID started, and I have an exercise mat and wind. I keep it outside because I exercise outside, and wind knocked it over, right? So I go to pick it up, and it's outside, and we don't live in like farm country or anything, and a mouse runs out from underneath it. And of course, like any human being, I don't care who you are, you can laugh at me all you want, you know what happened to you, unexpectedly comes running, and it like makes a beeline toward me. I screech, I jump up, and I come down. I literally missed a broken ankle by probably a centimeter, right? So in the event that I broke my ankle though, the last thing I'd be doing is going in my kitchen, taking out some knives, going into my sewing kit and taking out some string and some needles. The last thing I'd be doing is going and trying to find a piece of saran wrap that could mimic what a pleat looks like. Going to get some of my hardware screws downstairs and try to fix it myself, right? Why? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to do it myself because it will affect my future and my well-being, and obviously I could get a lot more problems, right? Comp is no different. Comp, what decisions you make can affect your future and affect your well-being, and you could be borrowing a lot of problems. Why are you all trying to operate on your foot in comp? It's the same thing. You need to leave it to the lawyers, okay? And lawyers are not always big and scary. Most people don't hire lawyers because people assume, most dangerous thing you can do in this life, guys, is assume that it costs money up front or that it costs money overall throughout the entire case. So let me just tell you a couple things. If you are a potential client, you get hurt at work, right? And you bring on my firm and you're collecting checks weekly. You could collect those checks for 2 years. If you're out of work, it's called TT benefits. You will collect those 100%. I get none of that. I attend hearings. I have a paralegal doing your case. I have conversations with the adjuster. I do everything I can to push your case along and to make sure you see no hiccups. I don't get paid until you get a rating at the end of the case, right? So that's when you reach maximum medical improvement. There's a lump sum amount that's assigned based on the impairment rating you get and also based on your injury, okay? So, and your comp rate. We do this mathematical calculation and it pops out $10,000, fine. I'm easy math, everybody's different, of course. $2,000, my fee is 20% of that, so $2,000. So what have I done to earn $2,000? I got your case to the point where you can get that rating and you can maximize your recovery. That's what I've done, which is worth way more than $2,000, right? So again, my fees are relevant because you're gonna get more having me even after my fee than you would ever get on your own, all right? So the other piece is settlement. So some cases settle. So if you don't want to go back to work there, your business closed, they don't have a position for you, you can't go back to work, whatever the case might be, that's settlement. The rating usually becomes part of the settlement and we negotiate it as a package deal. My fee is 20% of that. It's the same. So if the impairment rating is equals $10,000 and I settle it for so I settle it for a total of 100, including your impairment rating, I get 20% of 100, right? If your impairment rating is $10,000 and we don't settle it, I get 20% of the $10,000 I get too. So I only get, ready, 20% of the overall figure at the end of the case. Got it? So whether that's a rating or a settlement, it's the same thing, okay? So I will tell you guys, I'm gonna give you guys one of my classic examples. A client comes in my office, he was working on a car and a screwdriver went through his eye, literally. I mean, you can't make it up. And when you're done twinging about it, you can realize it's a serious injury. He lost quite a bit of vision in his eye, fine. They offered him I think it was $23,000, something like this, the $25, something like that. When I heard they offered him $25,000, I knew there was something to the case, right? Because they never pay you guys anywhere near what the case is worth. But $25,000, that's a real number, right? So I get my hands on the file. I'm arguing with the attorney, who, by the way, they were rep by a lawyer. Our client was not and has no legal training. She's arguing me that the rating wouldn't even come into place because of the vision. I'm arguing no way. I send a bunch of letters out to the doctor. I settled the case 4 months later for $80,000. So my fee on 80 is what? I don't know. What is it? 16,000, right? So take 16 from 80 and you're at 64, is that right? 64,000, something like this. He was offered 25. So almost 3 times what I got even after my fee, right? So you gotta keep in mind, guys, that there's a reason that attorneys don't like to do comp, because it's not a huge moneymaker for them. I do it because it's actually a passion of mine. Anybody that works with me will tell you I have a passion for comp. I love it, and not enough good lawyers do it. And too many people lose their livelihoods, are very injured and don't get the right amount of treatment just because somebody wasn't there to help them the way they needed to be helped. So that's where I come in. And by the way, if you get no rating and if you get no settlement, I get nothing. So all my work all those months were for nothing. There's no situation, no risk to you where you ever pay me anything. I always owe the money coming from me, all right? Now we've got that out of the way. So how do you prevent the horror stories that is workers' comp from being part of your life, right? First, you hire a lawyer from the get-go. The first call needs to be for medical care. Second call needs to be for your employer, telling them what happened. The third call needs to be to a lawyer. All lawyers in comp are free consultations. These days, guys, with COVID, lawyers are desperate. You guys have probably heard me say that before. They are. I've seen more attorney names pop up in the comp realm that I know don't do comp, so they're just willing to take anything on. Do not be the guinea pig. That is dangerous, right? You don't, and it doesn't help, guys, that you move from one attorney to the other. Now, if you do, there's no fee to do that, right? So you're still paying the same fee at the end, whether you change attorneys 5 times or once, but you want to stay with the same lawyer. You want to get comfortable in the process. You want that lawyer to do everything they can to help you, to make sure that you are getting the best representation and maximizing your benefits. Now, when you bring a comp case, it's not against your employer, right? It's against the employers on your side, but they're covered by insurance. So if you work for a mom or pop shop or whatever the case might be, mom and pop aren't the one that are paying, and they're not going to get in trouble, right? You have a comp case, it comes from the insurance company, and that's just the way it is, all right? If there is no insurance, there's a fund set up called the Second Injury Fund, and they come into play. But that's rare, luckily. I can say that it's rare. And, we won't address that. Hold on. I had to sneeze, sorry. So, all right, let's do this. So, again, let's say you decide, hey, look, I'm not going to go the lawyer route. I'm going to operate on my own foot, and I'm going to do this. And you only get that operate on your own foot if you heard the rest of this video earlier. You need to file your 30C immediately. Get it out. That's your Bible of the case, okay? I get it. For some of you might say, well, I have a claim number already. It's open. No, guys, the claim number is the insurance claim number. It doesn't mean it's open. If you have to file a 30C or a first report of injury, and then it gets open. If you do not do this, and let's say 6 months goes down the road, and then the commission or the insurance company decides to stop paying you for whatever reason, you can't get a hearing because you don't have a claim number, because you don't have a workers' comp number, because the only claim number you have is from the insurance company, not comp. 30C is going to prevent that. 30C is going to open the actual legal case, and is going to allow you to get in there and get a commissioner involved in sticky situations in the event that they arise. You have a year to file it. With COVID, that's been relaxed. Guys, nobody should be coming anywhere near a year to file this thing, okay? File the 30C. It's got to be certified to your employer, and it's got to be sent certified to the workers' comp district where you want it filed. You have options for where you file in the comp, where you live or where your job is. I always recommend where you live. You never know how long you're going to be out, and if you need a hearing, you don't want to schlep an hour and a half up the road to the comp district closest to your job. Always file it where you live, okay? Fine. So let's say all that gets done, okay? The next step, there's a 1A form, and I'm not going to hold them up because they're backwards and stupid. A 1A form. A 1A form is how we calculate your wages. So you got to fill this out. There's a spot on here called Concurrent Employment, okay? The Concurrent Employment is any secondary employment you have. As long as you're paid, and you get some sort of a W-2. 1099 is hard, guys, but I can do another segment on that. But just if you have a job, let's say you're a barista with a coffee company, but during the day you're an HR professional and that's where you got hurt, both wages count in the concurrent employment, okay? So you got to understand that, all right? And take that from this video. Concurrent employment needs to be filled out. If you never fill that out, I had a call with a woman last week, a massage therapist. She also does massage therapy in another place as well. Didn't fill that out. The employer's been paying her X amount of money. It doesn't add up. I'm like, how are you making this but not this? Well, I only make that at that job, but the other job, my ears went up. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, they're not responsible for my other job. I go, ma'am, this is why you can't practice law when you're not a lawyer, guys, all right? So here's the deal. No, she's wrong. Concurrent employment, she's been paid for 8 months at the wrong rate. And the difference is like $300 a week. So what is 8 times, 8 months times, it's about 33 weeks, times about $300. What does that equal? I don't know. $9,000 to $10,000, something like that. She could have used it because, as all of you know, your comp rate is not your normal rate. So fill out your 1A form appropriately and correctly. Again, these are legal forms, guys. Send it to the commission. Send it to the employer. Anything that comes in the mail certified from workers' comp is a horror flick in and of itself. It means that the insurance company is trying to make a record, meaning they're trying to do something. They're trying to stop benefits, change benefits, whatever the case might be. This is the horror film of the whole thing, okay? You need to make sure that if anything comes certified, don't throw it in a pile. Don't be scared of it. You open it and address it. These are fire forms. Now, if you haven't gotten a lawyer involved now, wait until you get that Form 43 when it says, we're denying John Smith's case even though the boss saw him fall and hurt his back. Then you're going to hire somebody. So save yourself the time and energy, hire somebody, or at least have your free consultation in the beginning and then decide as you go. There are naysayers here, I'm sure, that are saying, hey, look, I've been on comp for 3 months. I have no problems. Great, guys. That's awesome. Because you haven't met your reserves on your file or because 4 months is an infancy for a comp case. things will start breaking down as you go. It will start breaking down. It is just the way it is, okay? The system, the insurance companies, the more money you cost people, the more difficult they become. They'll start sending you to their doctors. They'll start doing this. They'll move for, oh, I have late duty, but they can't actually accommodate you. Guys, listen to me when I tell you, you are operating on your own foot when you're doing these cases, okay? Don't do it. So anything certified should be fire. Get it out of your hands, open it up, and address it. If it's a Form 43, you should file a hearing request because it's in reference to your 30C. They only have 28 days to file this. If they don't file it in 28 days, they're precluded from denying any of your injuries. Fine. 36 is another form you have to be on the lookout for. That Form 36 is them trying to either change your benefits over from TT, can't work, to can work light duty, or from can't work or work light duty to PPD benefits. So you should know that TT benefits and TPD, temporary total, temporary partial, these are unlimited amounts. So as long as you're on these benefits, they don't go against your bottom line. PPD is limited based on that rating I talked about earlier, okay? Once you reach maximum medical improvement, let's say it's at 10% to the back, you're gonna get 37.4 weeks. On week 38, what happens? Let's say you can't go back to work. Checks are done, guys. It's over. Gigs out, okay? So don't get yourself in that situation. We typically take the time you're rated and we utilize that time to try to feel out with you. Do you want to go back? Can you go back? If you can't, you're not going back, then we negotiate a settlement. If you can go back, you're likely already back at work by the time you get rated. Great. We make sure you collect your rating and everybody moves on and the case stays open for the indefinite future. If you settle your comp case, the workers' comp case for 2 years of qualified education for you around your restrictions. So if you settle your case, you want to go to get an HVAC license or an electrician's license or a barber license or a massage therapy license or a forklift license or whatever you want to do, teaching license, whatever. They will pay for 2 years of education at a qualified institution for you around your restrictions. Great, they have a whole vocational rehab program right there in workers' comp. We obviously direct our clients on how to do that. You get to pick your doctors, guys, okay? You get to pick your doctors. So there's a couple employers in Connecticut, I say couple, probably, I don't know, 20 maybe. I don't know, by the way, thousands and thousands and thousands so maybe it's more than 20, I don't know, but it's not many that have a network of doctors you have to pick from, and usually those are the healthcare companies, like the hospitals, or like the medical systems, medical services. However, you get to pick your doctor. I don't care what they tell you. Oh, you got to go to our doctor. Wrong. You don't. You get to pick your doctor. So when they try, and by the way, if you go to their doctor because you fell for the scam and they say, go to ours, of course, guys, if they're sending you to a doctor, there's a bias there, right? So I would not go. That would be a reason for me not to go to their doctor. Now here's the deal though, like I said, there's some companies that have a network of doctors, but you at least get to choose through the network, right? Usually, for instance, Yale has this, okay? You get to choose from a network, and I've seen the list, there are good doctors on the list, people I would send whether they were on the list or not. But keep in mind, you get to choose your doctor. So important. Don't fall for the scam. And I got to tell you, the employers, and they're not the ones that are usually doing the negative things. It's usually the insurance companies. People get mad at their employers. I tell them, don't get mad at your employer. They don't even know what's going on here. They don't know. They're just in the backdrop. They handed your 30C over and they were out. Okay, so you get to choose your doctor. And if you go to their doctor and you go 10 times, you see my video, then you call me, I will do everything I can to switch doctors. But if you've gone 10 times, they're going to argue that you basically accepted their proposal for a physician to be your physician. Go to somebody independent. You got to go to somebody that knows comp. You got to go to somebody that knows how to rate at the end. I mean, these are all decisions you make now that are going to affect you in the future. Mileage, you get paid round trip mileage to and from all medical appointments, guys, okay? You get paid round trip mileage. So what does that mean for you? You get mileage worksheets. My office provides them to you. You fill them out. You keep them in your glove box. You submit them to us every 6 weeks. We submit them in, and you get, I think it's 58.5 cents a mile, but I have to warn you, because gas prices have dropped with COVID, that's going to drastically change. What else can I tell you that you may not know? I talked about the 30C, the 43, the Form 36. Your rate. So we talked about the 1A form. Once that 1A form is done and you've calculated your comp rate, which by the way, guys, you'll need a pad of paper, probably a bottle of aspirin of some sort, and a glass of wine to get through it. I just plug numbers in because I pay for a system. In selecting a comp attorney, you know what the first question you should ask is, do you have comp tools? If they look at you like you don't know what you're talking about, they're not a serious player in my realm, you need to move on. If they say no, that means they're too cheap, okay? So you want a lawyer with comp tools. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what the defense uses. The defense, I don't let them have anything I don't have, unless it's something I just can't get, right? So comp tools is one of those things I have. I plug in your exemptions, your average weekly wage after the adjuster gave me your 52-week indemnity history, because they count, how we come up with your comp rate, guys, is we take the 52 weeks prior to the injury. So if you've only been working there 10, then we take the 10. But we average those weeks. And if there's any weird weeks, like let's say you took unpaid time off or something, a lot of times we're successful in getting those taken out because they can skew the average. You want that average as high as possible because it's going to make your comp rate as high as possible, right? We plug all that into comp tools and it bangs out, bam, this is Jane Smith's comp rate. Fantastic. Okay, fine. So then we request a jurisdictional voluntary agreement. These are green pieces of paper. We ask the workers' comp to give these to us. They give them to us. You sign them. They're sent into the commission. They approve them. Your case is now accepted. Congratulations. Guys, I guarantee there's not one person on here, unless you're an attorney, nor am I, so you're on here, that knows everything that I'm talking about and your head's not spinning. That is why you don't operate on your own foot. Okay, that's why the other day I didn't sit down, well, I didn't break it, thank God, but if I did, the first place I would have gone is to a professional. There's why people treat legal matters so differently, I don't understand. Leave it to the professionals. It doesn't cost you anything in your bottom line or in your pocket. The attorneys get paid at the end of the case is 20%. You want to make sure, right, that you're choosing a lawyer that knows what they're doing. I'm sorry, but if a lawyer uses their home address as the address for their firm, they're not a big player, guys. You need a lawyer that's known and that's a big player. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. If you look up their office and it's a home address, you go on Google Earth, you check it out, it's a problem. You guys can look up our address. It's 75 Brace Road. You're going to see I'm on the corner of Brace and Dale and down in Blueback Square in downtown West Hartford. We have the entire white building. It's a beautiful office. You guys are welcome to come visit with a mask and a call ahead of time so we can plan and make sure that we take all precautions to protect our staff. We have espresso, that's killer. I order it from Lavazza. And, you can meet with some of our staff and some of our people here. I love this part of what I do in educating people, and that's why we do so well, I think, is because I take the time out to talk to you guys like your people, not like, okay, your paycheck, because that's not the way it is. We work together to get to the end. It's not me working or you working, it's us working together. So workers' comp is a bear, right? And you want to save yourself from being like, literally, you don't want to be telling your grandkids ghost stories around the fire and have you change your story about workers' comp to try to give them the effect of how spooky it is, right? So guys, in all seriousness, a lawyer's a free consultation. You got to talk to one. I talk to people every day. You guys have serious injuries. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're doing it. Every single case I talk to, there's something wrong. Every one. I'm telling you, I can't think of one where somebody did. And Pete, you guys are all doing a great job. You are. Everybody but you can only handle it so far. Let me do all the work in the beginning so I earn my money at the end. Don't hire me at the end when I only do a little bit of work and still make the 20%. Don't do it. Why are you going to do that? Let me do it from the beginning, save you the stress and aggravation. Let's get you back to work. Let's get you healed. Let's get you to where we can get you as far as your level of, obviously it takes an emotional toll as well. A call from an adjuster, a missed check, this, that, and the other thing only disintegrates your mental health even more, okay? Don't do it. Let it be my problem. Again, you can reach us, guys. Goff Law Group, obviously, 203-399-0000, extension 1. That is our intake line. You're going to give a little bit of your info, and then an attorney calls you back within 20 minutes. Or they do actually directly connect you to us as well. But in the event that you want to speak to somebody directly, it'll be within like 20 minutes. You can email us, Brooke, B-R-O-O-K-E, at gofflawgroup.net. Friend us on Facebook, Goff Law Group. What else? Share it on your timeline, because you never know whose life it will impact positively from just seeing this video. All right, guys, and again, be safe out there. Coronavirus is still there. Be safe. Understand. I got off a call yesterday. I'll do a call on this next week. If you or somebody you know contracted coronavirus at work and has deceased as a result, the spouse, if they were married, may be entitled to spousal benefits for the rest of the spouse's life, okay? So again, guys, just make sure Don't jump to assumptions. The unknown is the scariest part of workers' comp, and it doesn't have to be unknown if you have the right lawyer, okay? Again, I look forward to helping you all. Thank you, and I'll be shooting another video in a couple weeks. Take it easy, guys. Thanks.